It's been half a year. What I'm referring to is how long it took me to make this video. I, honest to God, was not expecting it to take this long, nor that the challenge run would be as tiring as this. By the end of this whole project, I was kind of sick and tired of all of my companions not doing enough damage and dying constantly, that the rules were broken by the time I reached the Elite Four. But what exactly are those rules, and what is this challenge anyways? Well, this is a new type of challenge that I call the Low Offense Challenge. Simply put, this is a Pokemon challenge run in which I, the player, must use Pokemon that have, well, offensive stats that are lower than average. Specifically, I'll be using fully evolved Pokemon with base attack and base special attack lower than 90. So, to put things in perspective, let me make a disclaimer that this is not exclusively a bad Pokemon run. I won't always be using Pokemon that as bad as, say, Parasect or Unpheasant, although I won't be using those anyway, since they have attacking stats of 95 and 115 respectively. However, I will be using good Pokemon like Umbreon, Claydol, or Bronzong, since they fit the challenge. Let's mark down all the rules in the form of a checklist. Base attack and base special attack of Pokemon must be lower than 90. They must be fully evolved. I have to get as many types as possible. No attack raising items or abilities. No save states, which is eventually broken. No glitches or exploits, not that I know of any. The challenge starts, and it's innocent enough. I was just watching television when my friend, who I named Pearl, decided to show up. We go outside, try to go through the tall grass, then Rowan stops us because there's probably itchy Urtica. Or maybe it's because we don't have a Pokemon. Thankfully, he gives us one willingly. Now about the starters. I thought about it, and the best one to pick, in my opinion, is Piplup, because Torterra is the least threatening starter. No fighting type or steel type shenanigans. So anyways, I picked Piplup, fight my friend, and lose because I didn't pick Turtwig. As I expected, I get the running shoes from Mom so I can go to Sandgem and name my starter. Well, we are certainly naming a Pokemon. Yeah, I should really stick with dual screens, shouldn't I? After doing some backtracking and backtracking, I finally get Pokeballs and we get to catch our first Pokemon, which is a Bidoof, who I named Synchro. Ah, I see. This Bidoof has an adamant nature. Now that's both good and bad. On the one hand, we deal more damage with physical moves, seeing as how Bibarel has an 85 physical attack. On the other hand, it means our water guns aren't going to do much damage. It also has the ability Simple, which I'm not a big fan of. By the way, I decided for some reason to catch one that's level 2. So I must do some switch training with Piplup. After reaching Jubilife City, I save my game and catch another Pokemon. This time it's Wurmple. Now, the deal with Wurmple is that it has two possible evolutions, which are dependent on its personality value. But to me, it's random. So this is why I saved my game before. Also, yes, I did just nickname my Wurmple Thick. No, I won't explain why. After we beat a few trainers and Pokemon, Thick evolves and it's a Silcoon. Don't worry, the next day I do get what I was looking for, a Cascoon. Yep, I will be using Dustox on my team. So leaving Jubilife, I find my friend Pearl. Very slowly. After that slugfest, it's time to move onward to Oreburgh. Very slowly. where Thick evolves yet again into Dustox. Dustox's confusion is rather helpful against the rock types, but I use it only against the two trainers, and the rest of the rock types are dealt with by another Pokemon I caught, Onix. I know I can't get Steelix at all, since it's available through trading only, but I'll still use it for something. Now that's all well and good, but what about Rourke and his Cranidos? Well, that's where Bidoof comes into play. After a few minutes of grinding, Bidoof evolves into Bibarel, becomes a water type, and learns Water Gun, a necessary move to have this early on. That way, the rock type gym should be easy. Both Geodude and Onix fell quickly. Cranidos managed to stick around long enough for him to land a critical headbutt and for Rourke to use a potion. But a few water guns later and the evil is defeated. One badge collected. After defeating Rourke, I decided to level up my other Mons before continuing onward to Floroma Town. On the way there, I fight Team Galactic, although this fight was pretty easy. And now, after reaching Floroma Town, I can get myself a new companion, which is Pachirisu. Now, Pachirisu is somehow even weaker than Dustox, with 45 in both stats, rather than 50. But it's got that electric typing, which is more useful than bug or poison. Although things will be starting out kind of meh since no electric stab. However, with enough grinding, this will not last. At level 13, Pachirisu learned Spark, so we reached that level, even if it wasn't easy. So I fight more grunts in order to get a key, then fight even more grunts to then get to the Commander Mars. Now this fight is usually pretty difficult because of Perugly, but it went well enough. I first took care of Zubat with my new Pachirisu, and for that Perugly I used Onix. I selected Screech 3 times and then simply Rock Smashed away. Took out Perugly in just 2 Rock Smashes. Oh, whoops, I meant 3 Rock Smashes. It's easy to get the two confused. Oh, right, I forgot. I also used the honey trees to get several more Pokemon, like Burmy, a female Combi, and Cherubi, named Plaque. No idea why. Cherubi at first kind of sucks. Its only grass move right now is Bullet Seed, which uses physical attack, so the damage output is low. And Dustox will be replaced by Combi. I will get into that later. Anyways, moving onward, we reach Eterna Forest, where we have to do some double battles with Cheryl. It's not difficult, it's not too difficult, and in some places it can be fun. I'm saying this to foreshadow the upcoming frustration. When I got to Eterna City, I've decided to catch a Bronzong that I will use later. You're going to hear me say use later a lot in this video. I pre-planned all of this, you know, all of it. A few trainers later, and it's time for the gym. This one can be annoying because of paralysis, but it's doable. Anyways, more grinding. This time it's for Combi. Well, all I've got to say is Vespiquen's pretty good for the second gym. Well, almost. See, Reflect and Leech Seed can be annoying, but it was not hard, not at all. That's all I can really say about this. It's a good head start. 2 badges. Now it's time for the Galactic building. None of the grunts were a problem, and so was Jupiter. Zubat was dealt with using Pachirisu again, and Scottic was a little scary, but only a few bug bites destroyed it. After getting the bike, it was time for the Cycling Road. Well, I say, but in actuality we need to go back, because a single Pikachu was stronger than my entire team and I couldn't do a lot to it in return. So I go back and I realize this now, that I could get a nose pass right away at Mount Coronet. I thought for sure that he was available later on, but nope. Well, I catch him, name him Ataka, and evolve him immediately into Probopass. Now, Probopass right now isn't so impressive. He doesn't do a lot of damage. But hey, he doesn't die fast. This time, Cycling World was much easier. I reach Orberg again and have decided to get the TM for Flash and go through the Wayward Caves. Both of them. I rescue Mirror in the first one, and in the secret one I find the Earthquake TM. But I won't be using it on Sandy Cloak Wormadam. You will see why. You will all see why. Speaking of Sandy Cloak Wormadam, that's my favorite Pokemon by the way. That's what Burmy eventually turns into. We go through Mount Coronet, meet up with this guy, fight some more trainers, and I eventually land in Hearthome City, which is home to cosmetics, contests, walking, and Eevee, who I named Darkness. You can probably guess where this is heading. Eevee is definitely important for the next gym, which is Ghost type. After defeating all of the trainers in the gym, it is time for another grinding session, with Eevee this time. It took me 8 days to finally power up Darkness long enough for him to learn Bite. The fight against Fantina went a lot better than I imagined it. I went in just to test out how well I do with Eevee instead of Umbreon, but I surprisingly won. It starts off with me defeating Duskull without taking any damage. Haunter was a little annoying due to Hypnosis and Sucker Punch, but still really easy. Finally, it is Miss Magius, who, after some switching, was also dealt with. In the end, I didn't expect it to be victorious, but here we are, 3rd badge. Next up, Friendo time. Pearl here wasn't anything special, though I was noticing that I was starting to get a bit underleveled. That could be a problem. Okay, I'm lying, it will be a problem. It was at this point I realized how lucky I was. My Wormadam had Hidden Power Ground as its hidden power, so that's something. Anywho, we finally make it to Salakion Town, where we get access to the nursery. This is the core of grinding right here. We plop 2 Pokemon in and simply use our Bite. That's it. After leveling up our Pokemon a bit, we move forward. This here is the Lost Tower. If I didn't at least show it, some of you would have been angry. After a few trainers, we reach the cafe where we can buy Moo Milks as a sort of temporary recovery item. Also, Black evolves. Black is surprisingly fast for a Cherry Blossom and is quite strong. Also, we reach Veilstone City. At last, I get to go to the TM store. We get the Natural Gift TM here. Natural Gift is a move that changes type depending on the variant a Pokemon is currently holding. This ought to be useful since we won't get a Fire type or a Fighting type. We also get Dig for Wormadam. That's proper stab. And another miracle happened. I have walked around for so long that Eevee's friendship was high enough to evolve, and since it's nighttime, it will evolve into Umbreon. And I decided to teach it Payback as its stab. Afterwards, we move forward to fight a few more trainers outside and inside the gym. Then we grind in order to evolve Bronzor. Only then do we get to challenge the gym leader Maylene. Her Benetite immediately scares me off with Rock Tomb against Vespiquen, but is dealt with pretty easily. You might be wondering why I evolved Bronzor. Well, it was because of a single Machoke. But after that, it's Lucario, my arch nemesis. Wormadam thankfully took care of that beast in just 2 days. And that, my friends, is our 4th badge. Next up is Pastoria City, where we fight against our friend again. This time we're even more underleveled, but thankfully I'm still victorious. Now we're at the gym. Neither the gym trainers nor the gym leader, Crash or Wake, were particularly difficult. Speaking of Wake, something weird happened during the fight. Gyarados and Quagsire get beaten by Pachirisu's Discharge and Cherrim's Petal Dance, respectively. But I only now just realized that it was because of Petal Dance that I could not move the next turn and Floatzel killed Cherrim. Don't worry, it didn't ruin the battle, it just means I have to sacrifice 3 Pokemon instead of 2. And with that said, here's the 5th badge. Now that we're done with that, I'm doing more story stuff and eventually get Swablu, who I name Yablaka. My naming scheme is truly inspiring. However, what's more important, I stopped using more than 6 Pokemon, even though it was already too late as I'm extremely underleveled. And this time, trainers I'm facing are mostly cool trainers. Not this time, you freaks. I get to Celestic Town, deliver the old charm, and fight Cyrus. All of his Pokemon were weak to Probopass, so there isn't much to talk about. I guess his Murkrow was kind of annoying. Now that we've received Surf from Cynthia's grandma, it is time we explore a few areas we've missed. Specifically, we're going to check out the route to left of Pastoria and Fuego Fireworks. Fuego Ironworks. At the Ironworks, I can make my own colored shards by giving this guy star pieces. At least I'll have enough to teach my Frostlass Ice Punch. Sorry, spoilers. Anyway, we make it to Kennelab, and Pearl, don't you realize that I will beat you at every opportunity? Although his starter, now a Torterra, is kicking my ass. I met a Pokemon that can hurt him decently, and yet somehow I come out on top with the power of Cherrim on my side. That's... Alright, we make it to Iron Island, home of whoever this is. He has a Lucario on his team, so I already don't trust him. I bet his Lucario will die before I could say Team Galactic. Okay, I'm inside the cave and this whole curse of being underleveled is starting to bite me, so you know what? I'm doing it. I'm using my remaining rare candies to evolve Altaria. Is it a mistake? Yeah, probably. I don't care. See? What did I tell you? Anyway, here's Team Galactic. Aside from certain cool trainers, nothing was particularly strong. And now we're at the gym. Aha! Scizor! Finally, I can make use of Natural Gift. Time to use that Cherry Berry. Uh-oh. Well, that didn't go as planned. In fact, nothing went as planned. I'm still underleveled. I think it's time we turn to that daycare I talked about back then. There we go, that should be enough. And it is. We finally make it to Byron. His Magneton didn't do much, but Steelix sets up a Sandstorm, which is problematic as we are now facing Bastiodon, who is a bastard. On. His moveset consists of Taunt, Stone Edge, Metal Burst, and then he pulls out Iron Defense, making my digs ineffective. I got him eventually, but hot damn! He knocked out 2 of my Pokemon. Go to hell, Byron. You and your son suck. More grinding coming up. We do more story stuff and eventually land in the exploded remains of a lake. There I fight Saturn, the final Team Galactic commander. His Golbat wasn't anything interesting. Krogunk took a few healing items to take care of, and Bronzor is rather annoying because I don't have anything super effective. Overall, it's pretty easy. You know what else is pretty easy? The fight against Mars, so there's that. Now it's time to make our way through Mount Coronet and into the snow routes. Boy, do I hate these. Not only is there a constant hail, but I also just hate snow and the cold in general. Finally, we get our final team member, Snowrunt. specifically a female Snorunt, since that makes Frostless, an ice ghost type. Well, that's cute. It has a modest nature. The last Frostless I used had an adamant nature. After some more grinding, I fight the trainers in the Snow Point City Gym, until we make it to Candice. Her Sneasel wasn't an issue, as was Piloswine, but it's the other two that are bad. First comes Abomasnow, who sets up a hailstorm, but that's not important as I get to use a natural gift again. I should really stop using it to circumvent my lack of a fire type. Okay, well, that's not good. I had to take it out with my flying type. And next comes her own Frostless. By the way, what you're seeing here is a bad switching. Do not do this. I should really be using Umbreon because he has Feint Attack. But somehow Probopass managed to hit behind a Snowcloak in 2 double teams. That's... Yippee! 7th badge! After that battle, it's time to do more story stuff. I'm skipping most of this, just so that I don't pad out the length of the video. Next comes the second battle with Cyrus. Once again, Probopass deals with Sneasel and Crobat by himself, but has trouble with Honchkrow. I'm starting to run out of things to say.
Ladies and gentlemen,
now it's time to go through Mount Coronet to reach Spear Pillar, and I did so. After a few battles against the Team Galactic grunts, we eventually fight Cyrus in the Distortion World. I try my best to set up a few Dragon Dances with Altaria, but I really should have healed beforehand. So it's up to Probopass to, again, deal with Weavile, Crobat, and Honchkrow. As for the Gyarados, I put it to sleep and then use Bibarel to kill it. And that's it for the Team Galactic plotline. We're almost done, we're almost here, it's almost over. Finally, we made it past Route 222 and into Sunny Shore City. But before we face the gym, I have to buy a few items, mostly potions. Now, at the gym, Altaria decided to be a bit frustrating to use, especially because Earthquake wasn't always guaranteed to kill something. But against Volkner? Oh boy, it's messy. I try again to set up Dragon Dance, and I even gave Altaria a Cherry Berry to deal with paralysis. But apparently, 3 Dragon Dances weren't enough to kill Luxray, and Yabloko fainted to an Ice Fang. Electivire took like an eternity to take down, and by the time Raichu came out, I was down to 1 Earthquake, and it didn't one-hit KO. Oh, and by the way, he took out my Altaria. I had to take him out with someone else. Finally, we get the 8th badge. 1 more route to go through, this time it's full of water. I'm starting to get a bit tired. We made it past that route. Now it's time for Victory Road, and I immediately regret boxing Altaria. This is a Magnezone if you haven't noticed, and it's a Steel type. The only move I can feasibly use is Surf. Surf. This is just ridiculous. Alright, it's the next day, I'm moving forward in this stupid cave with a bunch of repels. Good. No, it's good. I said good. It's another Steel type. And this one I can't hit with anything. This sucks. All this walking to go somewhere, and I could just not walk and be farther. However, I keep pressing on and eventually get to the Pokemon League. I made sure to pick up the TM for Dragonclaw, that would be useful. Also, I caught a Steelix because I didn't want to leave out my Onyx. But here's the bad news. I'm still underleveled. Now, I could just grind the hell out of my Pokemon, but I'm getting sick and tired of this challenge, so you know what? I'm doing it. I'm using PK Hex to set up my levels to 57. Is that considered cheating? Probably. I don't care. We get to the door and... No. No. Bad. Bad Pearl. Go back to your room. Alright, it's time to face the Elite Four, and I am not looking forward to this. Aeron was okay. Everyone died except Scizor, who just could not die due to his Steel type. We saw how unlucky I was with Natural Gift. I'm not doing that again. Bertha wasn't actually too hard. Not much to say here. Flint? This one was a pain. Burns were a problem. Not because I was using a physical attacker, I'm not using Barbarrel. Way too many things counter Barbarrel. The constant loss of health, combined with the damage I was taking too much, it made for a pretty miserable fight. Okay, now look at this Infernape. I was going to make a meme out of this situation where I had to use Altaria, but the strongest move for this situation was Fly, so I could say, yes, I'll fly, but no, he goes for Flare Bit. He goes for Flare Blitz and immediately burns me. Oh, and by the way, we both lost our Pokemon, so I don't get the experience. No one benefited from this. And finally, we have Lucian. He was fine, I guess. Yes, I'll throw. And now, the moment you've been waiting for. Cynthia. I did not bother with Cynthia at all. I used all of my rare candies on Altaria. I got Dragonclaw and Earthquake on my Altaria. I even didn't remove Dragonite on my Altaria. You knew what this led to, didn't you? I'm going with Altaria. First up is Spiritomb, possibly the worst one. I tried to set up Dragon Dance, meanwhile he constantly crits me and I have to heal up. Altaria's bulk is useless. After lowering my special defense, I think it's time we actually start attacking. I'm at 5 Dragon Dances and 1 Dragonclaw is still not enough to kill Spiritomb. However, 1 Fly is. Next goes Garchomp. Deep breath. Safe state. Dragonclaw. Lucario. Earthquake. Milotic. Fly. Roserade. Fly. Togekiss. 1. Final Fly. But why though? I was so shocked by this that I actually reloaded a safe state. The optimal strategy was actually 2 Dragonclaws. And then... victory. Victory at last. Jesus Christ. That was something. That was the first time I have ever felt this much excitement. I don't remember ever screaming in victory before, but that's Cynthia for you. I guess this is also the end of the challenge. I had a lot of plans for when I'll be doing more of these challenges, but after the monotony I have experienced over the course of these recordings, I don't know when I'll be getting to them. Who knows? Maybe I won't be able to get to them anytime soon. Maybe this will be the only challenge like this on the planet. Okay, maybe not that last one. I'm sure someone will be inspired to do another one of these low offense challenges in other Pokemon games, despite my suffering. But who knows? Maybe that special someone will be you. But we'll just have to wait and see. Anyways, that's the end of the episode. Have a good one.